And you're welcome to my channel, Chimbretti Fish Farm. It's nice to be with you today. I posted a video not long ago about using wolffia plant to supplement our catfish feeding from juvenile level. And I promised that I was going to do a follow-up video to show exactly how I'm able to achieve a natural feed plant that is not going to harm the fish, that is well sanitized so that consuming it will not introduce any kind of disease to them. So that's exactly what I want to do now. I'm going to show you right from scratch how I harvest and how I sift the dirt from it and how I sanitize it. So that's what I'm going to be doing through this course in the course of this video. And I want you to stay on and watch to the end. Because believe you me, fish feed is expensive. Floating fish feed is very, very expensive now. The 2mm aqua feed that I bought just a week ago was over 21,000. So it tells you that things are getting on the high side. So anything at all that one can use to supplement the feeding of your catfish and still achieve good growth so as to maximize your profit is recommended. So let's get right on to business. I'm going to try to show you exactly. Now I want to take us to the pond where I actually grow my wolffia plant. Going to the pond where I actually grow or culture my wolffia plant. So this is where the pond where I culture the plant, the wolffia plant, and this is where I harvest it from and get it ready to feed to my juveniles. The equipment here might look a little bit crude, but this is my harvester. This is my harvester. I just dip them here, right here in the pond, and that's it. I scoop up the plant. And when they are out, this is what they look like. You can see that there is a lot of dirt in here, but this is the gold. These little plants, that's the gold we're after, that we're going to sift from all this. You might wonder why all this is here. You see, recently I have to clear the surroundings. You can see those surroundings there. Those edges I have to clear it. They were as bushy as this. You know, because I have arowana stored in here. I have arowana called locally Abadarigi here in Lagos, stored in this pond. They are cultured here. So when it's spawning time, they actually need this kind of grass in order to build their nests. So I usually, during the before the harvest, before the spawning period, which is usually the rainy season, these things are allowed to grow around it. But I just have to recently clear it, and that is why you have all this dirt here, like all these leftovers of what was caught during the cutting and cleaning process. So that's why this is so dirty. So we're going to clean this up so that what we will have is this green gold, like I just mentioned. This is what we are after. This is what we are after, free of all dirt, which we're going to give to the juveniles. Yeah, so this is the wolffia plant I just brought. You know, I showed it earlier to us by the pond where I harvest. So I've got tools here that I'm going to use. This is a sifter, a bigger hole. This sifter here has a smaller hole. And this is a sifter that is a cloth, a filter or cloth mesh made from cloth, because the tiny seeds, let's remember our goal are the tiny seeds. They won't be able to pass through here. So you're going to just watch as I go ahead now to do the work. So the first thing to do is to get all these bigger shrubs out, because every grain of the wolffia plant is important. I'm trying to rinse the wolffia plant off all this. So that's the work there. Rinse all the grains off the debris, because all the little grain is important. By the time we're through with this, we will just look at all these debris. So we're able to get this from here. I guess you must have seen how people scout for gold or precious pearls. I was watching a documentary once. Some people trying to get gold from the riverbed, and if you see the wahala they have to do sifting everything, you know that to get precious pearl is not easy. So what we're looking for here is called green gold. You're going to get to see it as we continue. So after that stage, now the next stage is for me to use this sieve, this bigger sieve, to take out this bigger whatever. Please, can you hold this with your left hand? Water. Right. So remember, the goal is to get all the small seed off this. Lower the distance smaller, so water will come out. Pause that. Bring that here now. And rinsing those things off, whatever. Because as water is passing through it, the small whatever is dropping. This my water is not rushing much. My water just went down, and there's no NEPA, or so to speak, light, and my generator, something just went wrong now, so this water should be rushing more than this to quickly clean off the small distance. Rinse it off from this bigger whatever. You see, I get to use this particular one. I gave it to my bigger brooder catfish. They eat it. And actually, if it's them that I want to, because this is what I'm doing is for juveniles. If it's for the bigger catfish, I don't have to do much work like this. I just put all of them inside there for them after removing the first shaft. And of course, they eat everything. But because I want to give this to the juveniles, that's why I'm doing all this, to make sure what I give them is the green gold. For the purpose of this video, I cannot get everything cleaned off here with what I'm doing now. So I will just have to proceed so that we get to see what I'm doing. Can you just fold the water a little? Let's have the water. The idea is the smaller ones that will go through the sieve, and these bigger ones will remain here. But there's so much of them still locking in what I'm doing here that if you don't take time to rinse it very well and use water to run through it, you're going to lose a lot of the tiny wolffia seed, so to speak. So like I said, for the purpose of this video, I will just leave what I'm doing, leave it at this stage. But there's still wolffia seed in here, which hasn't properly come out. You can see gradually, if you can see the surface of this water, let's run the pipe. You can see that the wolffia seeds are all floating right now. These are all wolffia seeds. You see, as I'm running water through it, you see they are going through the sieve because of the large hole. Because of the large hole, they are going through the whatever. So that's just the purpose, you see, running it through this big sieve. You can see the surface of this water now. See the surface of the water. You see that this is what we are after. This is the green gold. You'll be surprised by the time we finish running this water through the cloth mesh. You're going to be surprised of the quantity of wolffia seed we're going to get here. So now I want to use this smaller sieve now to get out more. Although this may not be the stage I'll use it. After I put it in the, see, that's the green gold. You see the green gold. Let's wash with water. Let's rinse it with water. See the green gold here. So I'm doing this. They are going into the water below. See what you saw in there now. They've all gone through the sieve. And the target of this sieve are all these other black, brown substance you're seeing here. There are so many in that water. So we'll get to that. The surface of this now, see the green gold right there at the top of the water. So we're not going to pass it through this sieve. Take it, pour it there, and you see the way I'm running my hand through it. This is what I'm going to do. All this water must pass through here. Why I have a basket at the base is for the water to be able to drain. You have something to suspend your whatever. Do you see what is happening? Do you see there? Look at that. Who would have thought this is embedded in that small water? Yeah. So as you see, this is this water that I'm taking and that I'm pouring here to see. You see that? The water is running through it. See, there is green gold in this water. So that's what we are trying to get out. So you see the action, you have to do this. You may have a better way of doing this. Like I mentioned at the beginning, this all look crude. But then that's the way I get the feed ready for them. So after all this is done now, I'm still going to use the small sieve. I'm going to use this small sieve. I'm going to run water through it so that there is still some dirt in here. You can't see them now, but this filter here is going to pick out the dirt from here. Some black things are still here. And as you're going to notice later, you also see there are other live creatures. All these are food for the catfish anyway. So after this process, then I will now do is it biosecurity we call it. That means that I have to sterilize this. I will show you how I do that by using common salt. So I'll soak it in salt for about 20 minutes, 10 to 20 minutes. And now they are ready to be served to the juveniles. Like I said, all this water will pass through this sieve because there's a lot of green gold in here. As you see the color of the water, you can see that the water is very dirty. So this is not the kind of thing you just give to your juveniles. Of course, older stock of catfish will survive any kind of infection. Of course, it even boosts their immunity. Any kind of infection from, after all, some of them are inside the water. They grow up like this water that you are seeing. That is where I have my arowana. They are growing in there. But of course, the dirt you are seeing is a result of this wolffia seed. It has some tiny black like root. So all that add to what you're seeing. So that's what we're going to do. Let me concentrate on this now and let this water drain. When it drains completely, then you see the quantity of wolffia seed, what we call green gold, that is in the quantity of this water. Please don't start that gen yet because of the noise. When you finish, just let me know. So, do you see that the quantity is increasing all from that water? I think the last batch of the water is what I want to pour in here now. To sift every little bit of green gold that we've got locked up in this water. Nothing should be wasted. I told you to please not start that gen because of the noise of this thing I'm recording like that. So when you finish, just let me know. So this is the last batch. The last batch. You see the quantity we've got in here? Will you believe you have that in that, what I showed you earlier? So, as you can see, I have to take it off the basket to get it lower for my water to be able to rush out from the tank. So, this is the next stage. You're going to see the kind of little dirt that we're going to see here that is embedded there. You are not seeing it because can you see that? Can you see that? So I won't feed my catfish with this. So that's the second stage of the sifting. So got to get out all dirt from it, and that's what purpose this smaller sieve serves. The cloth mesh you have at the base will not allow any wolffia seed to go through. The water is passing through it, so I'm running water through it. It's cleaning up the dirt off it. As you can see, this is dirt. These are part of the roots of this plant. That's the root it has. Let me do some more. So this is what we call green gold. And that is what your catfish, juveniles from juvenile up, that's what they need. It's been said that wolffia seed contains 48% crude protein. So you can imagine what right supplemental feeding this is for your catfish. Nothing is easy anyway, because you have to go through this motion because you can't, there is no way you want to do this and keep it for the next day. It is prepare and serve. So you can't do this and say, okay, you want to preserve it for the next day. Of course, one could do this anyway and put it in another holding pond where it is as if you are culturing it. But the thing is, this action is taking away the roots. The roots. You'll be surprised to know that they have roots with which they suck off nutrients from your fertilized pond. So if you've done this and taken away the root, I don't think they can stay without being served for more than 12 or 24 hours. But I'm speaking without due research. From my own experience, if you keep this for the next day, the odor, the smell will have changed from fresh to decomposure. You know, Chinese use this as salad. They say they use this as salad. So I think it has to be eaten fresh. Yeah, I guess that's okay for now. Let me get this water out of here. Although I'm still having a feel on my hand that there is still dirt in it, which has escaped my sifter for now, because I've not been able to sift everything through that bigger hole, smaller mesh filter. So this is what you do to let the water actually come out from the dish fast. So after this, running water through it and doing this cleaning, you now salt it. That is, you sterilize it in salt water for 10 to 20 minutes. I actually allow it to stay for 20 minutes in that water, and it's ready to serve my catfish. So this is it. This process is allowing all water to drain from it. Some of you ask how I get it to the stage. That's why I'm going through this for you to see it. I guess by the time you put this on the scale, you should be scaling more than 1 kg. So depending on the quantity you want to do. Like I mentioned, did I? And I'm going to do experiment to the stage where I would be feeding my catfish pellets if they are supposed to eat 1 kg, for example, per day. Just using that, if they are going to eat 15 kg per day of compounded feed, I'll give them 7.5 kg and supplement with this. Somebody do all the experiments and others benefit later from that research after it's done and something is achieved. Then I'm going to have another from juvenile. Once I train them to start eating this, maybe for about 2 or 3 weeks, giving them regularly every day, I will stop giving them compounded feed and use solely wolffia and see the end result. I'll get back to us with all that later. So you see what we have in here, that the water is drained. This is ready now for me to sterilize. So I'm just going to put it inside something, a bowl, and got it sterilized there. Uh, First of it. So I'm scooping this now, ready to sterilize. Can you believe that this came off that dirty water that we scooped from the harvested from the culture pond? So this is it too. So for those of us who were asking when they saw this finished product that I was feeding to the catfish, and they wonder, now how do you get it to that stage? I know of some who just pick it from the pond and feed it straight. But like I mentioned, if they are older stock, like blue stock, supposed to even grow in the pond where you are culturing the fish. So it grows in the pond where you are culturing the fish, and you don't need to do all this wahala of cleaning it up, siphoning it, and all the rest. What you just do is you let it grow in the same pond where you are culturing your fish, and they'll be eating. But I think from my experience, depending on the quantity of fish you have in the pond, it may not allow you to grow, to flourish. So that's why we feed it, we culture it in a different pond. Now I want to add salt. I think this quantity of salt is okay for it. It's okay to have more water. In fact, I may be pouring it from this particular bowl so that each of the seed will actually be in the water. So, but that's just the quantity of salt I put in this, and allow it to stay here for 10 to 20 minutes. So I'm just transferring it here to allow for proper soaking, so that every seed will actually receive will be contaminated, so to speak. So I see there's enough water there. So I'm going to do all this to make sure they all go back into the salt solution. So yeah, there you are. So that's it. It's going to stay there for 20 minutes. Then after it's been here for 20 minutes, I just have to just pour it back in here and then run water through it. Run water through it to the salt, to make sure the salt content is out. I hope you understand. Just run water through it. Now you pour more water on it here, turn it around, pour it here and let it drain. But what I do is I just pour it on in here and run water through it so as to desalt it, and it's ready to serve. So it will be back to the way you saw it together before I actually added water to decontaminate it. Thank you very much. I hope you've been able to see how I culture and prepare the wolffia plant for my juvenile catfish. Thank you for watching my channel, Jimbretti Fish Farm. If you like what you've just seen, just indicate by striking the like button and subscribing so that when other videos come out, you will get notification. As you can see, a closer zooming of what you have there, you can see some action taking place as if it's bubbling. Those are live creatures that is there, like I showed you earlier. By the time we finish and put it there and clean off the salt, you're going to see those small creatures coming out. Like I said, they have been decontaminated, so it's food for catfish. So the salt is not going to kill them because they are bigger than the small parasites we're trying to kill with the salt solution. So that's it. Like I mentioned earlier on, the Chinese use this as salad. By the time I finish removing the salt, I'm going to taste this. You try eating it yourself, you see that it's a delicious thing that the Chinese are using as their salad. Nutritious too, 48% protein. Thank you. Yeah, it's time to rinse out the salt. Time to rinse out the salt. I'm now pouring it into the cloth sieve. Nothing should be wasted. Every little grain of this is very important. Remember what they say about ₦1,000,000 no longer being ₦1,000,000 if it's short by 1 kobo. Think about the grain of rice that makes up 1 bag. When you're short of 1 grain and you keep throwing one grain away, before you know it, the whole bag of rice will be depleted. So every grain of the wolffia plant here is very, very important. So all of them make up a whole that you're seeing right here. So what I'm now doing is I'm rinsing out the salt. I'm rinsing out the salt from this so that I will not give salt to my juveniles. Of course, everyone knows we have salt in the feed that we give to them. And we also know we use salt in treating them. So salt is not totally harmful, but I do rinse this off completely as much as I can. Rinse off the salt. So you see that? So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to run it again and again to get the salt completely out. So here we are. Here we are. It's ready. It's ready. Now to pack and feed to my catfish. I want to taste for salt. Yeah, salt is off it. Salt is off it. Okay, gotta try and stay. Green gold. So this is green gold. After going through all the process you saw, ready to be fed to my juveniles. Oops. So I'm pouring back. It's not good to walk alone. My assistant has closed. So now to go feed the juveniles. So here we are. I keep calling them juveniles, but as you can see, they are no longer juveniles. I just did sorting yesterday. And some of them have gone with the jumbos. So we now want to... good evening, my fellow fish farmers. This is James Hunjo, Jimbreti Fish Farm, Ikorodu. I'm here to feed my jumbos wolffia plant for this evening, and I'm going to call them the usual way, and you see how they will rush in before I give them the food. That's how I call them for food, and they come running. This is the wolffia plant. Wolffia plant, the green gold. So I'm going to give it to them now, and we're going to watch them whether they're going to eat it or not. We're going to watch if they're going to eat it or not. Here we go. These are my jumbos. They are 3 weeks old here now. They're 3 weeks old here now. They're 3 weeks old. So you judge for yourself if they are eating it. When you come in here the next 1 hour, this thing floats on water. You're not going to see any. They will have consumed everything. Wolffia was introduced to me by Shadi's farm. to be used to train Heteroitis niloticus. Heteroitis niloticus is a scaly fish known locally in Lagos as Agbadarigi. Another name they call it is African arowana, and that is for that fish, Agbadarigi, Heteroitis niloticus arowana, that this feed, that is a wolffia plant, was introduced to me to feed. So I have decided to try it on my catfish from juvenile up. And as you can see, we're coming to the juveniles here to feed them. But I just started with the jumbos. Start with the jumbos. As you can see, that they are eating it. So you too can start using this on, if you train them. You train them to eat this, you save yourself a lot of fund to train them. So that this contains about 48% protein, crude protein. I think I'll have to cross-check that later to see if that my information is correct, but I think that is what I learned. Okay, now we're going to go over to the juveniles. So these are the juveniles. Now I want to give them some. Can you see what is happening? Can you see what is happening? Are they eating it? Judge for yourself. Judge for yourself. You can see that they are consuming it. They're not even seeing any drop of it on the water. These juveniles consume it better than the jumbo. You're not even seeing it on the water because this thing floats. So you see that they're indeed consuming it. It doesn't sink, it floats. It floats. So that is wolffia plant for you. It's called the green gold. Meant for arowana We're now using it to feed catfish. When you come in here few hours later, you are not going to find any residue right here on this water.